As I think most of you remember, we are a self-funded department. Funds come from the liquor licensees. Um, So we're not seeking any funds from the county. And in fact, where possible, we try to contribute some back to the county and also to the community through our programs. And I think as most of you are aware, and I guess I want to give a shout out to Marcia. She is the one that processes the contingency funds for all of you. So
Thank you.
she's the one doing all the work.
Thank you.
Other than that, I have, I don't know if I need to go into, we're doing pretty good. Liquor sales are up. I think that should be an economic indicator, but we're seeing a change from the dispenser side, hotels, bars, restaurants, to more to the retail side. So there's a change in dynamics there. But other than that, overall sales are still doing well. So I think that's some indicator of the economy in the county as well. With that, I'll yield.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chung?
Yeah, I don't have any questions really. I just wanted to make one comment. I've heard on more than a few occasions how helpful your staff has been to, various vendors and the like. And I tell them, as much as, I'd like to take credit for it, they really are a department that's sort of on their own. But I really wanted to congratulate all of you because, I'm really hearing a lot of good things just about your positive attitude, the positive attitude and helpfulness of the department. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Always working with us with the contingency funds. I know sometimes a lot of departments, try to find a venue and really you guys help us out, or help me out at least, in getting the monies where we need them to be. So thank you again for really working with us on that.
And thank you for coming before us. Your department has been very helpful to my office as well with the contingency fund request, so I do appreciate that. The public sometimes doesn't understand why we send our requests to help prom nights and graduation night celebrations to the liquor control department. They question that sometimes, but we all understand that's because they're alcohol-free events, and you support that. So thank you for that. And also, can you just enlighten me a little further on law that allows the consumer to bring alcohol into an establishment to consume? I know that's allowed where meals are served, or what are the criteria
Yes.
upon which that can be done?
Well, one is where they don't have a license, and some venues choose not to get a liquor license. So they are free to establish their own rules as to whether they allow liquor into the establishment or not. Even if they do, they need to follow some basic guidelines, and that would be still no service to people under 21, no over service. They need to still follow the rules as far as times of service, so they should not serve after, I believe, 12 o'clock. Then we also allow our licensees to allow people to bring in liquor, and that would be through a private host permit. So what we're seeing a lot of times is, especially with the resorts on the west side, they got a lot of customers that come in that want specific types of, let's say, wines, but they may not be available because of either the price or the rarity of the item. So in those instances, they will allow the customer to bring in their wines. They need to notify the licensee. The licensee will in turn inform us usually through email, or that they're going to bring in, these people are going to bring in their own wines, and we kind of allow it as an accommodation so that the restaurant or the hotel can, provide that extra step of service to, kind of meet the needs of the customer. So those would be the two instances where we do allow in other types of wine. I think the only restriction that we have on those is that it's not something that the licensee itself sells.
In the first instance that you described where it's unlicensed, there's no requirement as to the nature of the premises? Meaning, do they have to be a food establishment? Do they have to serve sit-down customers? Is there no criteria for that, or how is that?
No,
work?
and usually it's restaurants and things, but there's no real criteria. I mean, that's pretty much the only instance we would see it. You know, if they're, because we are involved in licensing establishments to sell liquor. These places that don't have a license are typically restaurants and really no other types of aside. If you have a specific example, I'll try to see.
Well,
But
it is, and it's one I brought up to you.
oh, the Lavaja, yeah.
Yeah, because we don't regulate kava, and you know, that's a
Yeah, so
concern.
we, you know, in response to that inquiry, we did send our investigators out there, who reminded them again that, you know, and they swore up and down that they're not allowing the liquor, but these kids are just hanging out outside. So, with the police, they informed them that they shouldn't even allow these people to kind of loiter in their area because they will be responsible for them. But I don't have any direct control over them, so it's more, you know, we will work with them to try and prevent the problem, and also with the police. But I don't have authority to shut them down, I guess is wrong.
No, I'm not asking that. I was just curious about the criteria and for unlicensed and being able for customers to be able to bring in their own liquor, which
Yeah, so if people wanted to, they could bring liquor, and if that establishment allowed them to, they could bring their own liquor, and you know, they'd be well within their rights. But I understood the problem you were faced with, and we did work with the police and with our staff, and we will try to keep on top of it and provide better monitoring of that area.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Hara. Ms. Lila, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Takase. I don't have any questions other than just more compliments. You know, your department works very well. I have done work with your department along with contingency funds, but I also want to praise the commissioners who take in these applications and vet these new licensees and create a very thriving and robust business environment. So thank you very much for ensuring that part of our community is really thriving and contributing. So thank you. Thank you to you and your staff and then the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leloy. Anyone else? No? All right, Mr. Takase, I as well want to thank you for working with our staff and your staff's good work in helping us process our contingency funds. And so thank you very much. And since we have no questions, I think you're done for today.
Well, thank you.
And I think we're going to go right through, Mr. Chung. Is that okay with you? That we, or do we need?